There it is. Look, Heather Smith with the G-Man himself.
Caught me getting some chicken in the store. I done rolled up in here right there in the Sealy Big Man deal, right here at Goose Pond. I'm filming. I run into these guys, so trouble has occurred.
And here we are. So for everybody, I told you earlier when I put our little gangster, when we were channeling our inner gangsters, we're walking over to G-Man's boat right now. He did an amazing thing, and we were actually, he's gonna do an announcement later about some stuff, but we were talking about it, and he walked away from an electronic sponsorship this year, left the money on the table because, go ahead, you tell him. I think you tell the story better than I do.
I wanted to run different units, and I've been with Humminbird a good while, and I enjoy the people and they're great people, but I wanted the ability to run live scope to see if it could help me be a better fisherman. And the only way you can do that is to separate yourself from a brand, which is, it's unfortunate, but I wanted to be a better fisherman. I wanted to learn more about what's underwater. So now what I did this year is I bought everything on my boat full retail. So I have a Garmin live scope up front, I have a Helix 12, I have a Solix 12, so I have a 360 up front, I have a Helix right here, and it's the second one for the mapping. I got a Garmin for live scope, and right now I got a Helix 15 in the dash. And I also...
Can I get on?
Yeah, we're all on it. And I also have, in the mix of all this learning, I've actually purchased, I got a Helix 10 over on this side, so I use this one for mapping, this one for side imaging, down imaging, and regular, the 2D. So when you come up front, how these units look, so you'd be live scope, this is cut in half, so this would be mapping, 2D sonar, and this is 360. What makes all this so powerful, the reason you're seeing guys leave, is live scope mixed with 360 is the juice of all juice. This is, I can scan it out 100 feet, I'm looking, I see something, you can spin the trolling motor with your live scope and look right into it. So putting these together has kind of been the key, and that's what guys wanted to do. I've actually got two Lowrance HDS 12s that I had on here at the first of the season, and I left all the transducers wired in because I'm trying to learn them. So I actually bought two HDS 12 Lowrance units just to learn how the software is, to see what the differences is. I kept them. I'm like, I want to continue to play with each unit. I think you're going to see more anglers that say, you know what, I'll pay the cost to be a better fisherman. So if I have to have different brand units, Justin Lucas has done it, Jacob Wheeler's done it, you're seeing more guys this year do it, Buddy Gross has done it. Guys want to use the best because all these companies makes like really cool products, but they have one racehorse in each division, and we're trying to take that and put it in to help us be better fishermen.
You want to have the cream of the crop of everything. Yeah,
that's what you want. And Humminbird's coming out with their forward-looking sonar. They'll develop something. And now Lowrance has their active target, and I hear that it's lights out. So I want to take my two units. I'm going to get an active target transducer, and I'm going to be able to compare it to live scope and see what I got, see which one I can see better with, what's the pros, what's the cons. Only way you can do that is not be tied down with one. It's unfortunate, but I think you're going to see a trend more in professional fishermen where anglers are just free agents, electronics wise. And over here we have a hammer drill on a barbecue drill. I don't know what we got.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
The porta potty just put new toilet paper in. So there
somebody's having a rough day.
Yeah, so like even this year, I've still got my Minn Kota trolling motor on, but I am waiting diligently for my power pole trolling motor to come out. I swapped back to power poles instead of talons this year because cosmetically they're a little cleaner, they're a little faster up and down, they're quieter, a little lighter. So I'm like, I just kind of went mismatched. I went back to the stuff that I like, and I think that the fishing industry is seeing that fishermen are due whatever and pay the price, pay the cost to be better fishermen. That's just what it comes down to.
At the end of the day, yeah, we have the 360 live on ours, and then I've done the live scope. You see Josh Jones, you know Josh Jones just broke that record on Ivy twice within an hour, and he was showing everybody, you know, he jigged, he got a 50-pound 5-stringer with a live scope on an Alabama rig. And, you know, so what are you finding to be?
I think what I've learned about live scope is it's taught me how fish react. Yeah, does it help you catch fish? Yeah. Is it magic? No. You still have to catch them. Just because you can see them doesn't mean they're going to eat. But it's let me learn the behavior of fish when they're moving around, when they're tight to the bottom, when they're how high they are in the brush. I actually started learning and understanding the offshore structure and the bite, which I was ready for. I was ready to take that next step of learning. We've all been out there cranking big plugs, but with this, when you can see the fish's behavior, now I'm pretty familiar with how a fish responds to a bait, if he chases it, if you can catch him or not.
Right.
And that's the key, when guys can look at that and say, these aren't catchable, these aren't bass, these are crappie. So I'm really into that part now of understanding the true picture of what's on live scope.
Well, now let me ask you this. You said you could find out with the reaction form or the response, and that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Are you getting 1 cast, maybe 3 casts? What do you think it's going to take for that?
It's weird. Like, sometimes if you can show interest in the fish, you can make him bite. But Jason Christie told me an amazing story last week in our Practice in the Elite Series. He said he was looking at live scope, he's looking out in the grass, and he said, I see just one sprig of grass and a bright dot on top of it. And he's like, I know that's a fish. And he said, I threw at it and it didn't move. And he said, I could see my bait coming right by it. He said, and on the 4th cast, that fish moved and bit the bait, and it was a 5-pounder.
Wow.
So he said that fish sit dead dormant till the 5th cast.
Same exact
He said,
lure.
I made the exact same cast, the exact same bait. He said, and I'm pulled down throwing, watching my bait come by it. And I think that's what live scope teaches you. So like in that event, he automatically knew that if you see structure with fish on it, you may have to make repetitious casts to catch them. So I think that's those little tricks that live scope teaches you that's kind of hard to understand.
So that's going to go with the old school methodology of working grid work, where you just cast.
Now you're cleaning your cast up. There's no wasted energy, there's no wasted motion. When I pull up on a brush pile, I see it on 360, I turn my live scope, I turn the trolling motor to it, and I can automatically see my DT10 coming through the brush pile. There is no wasted energy chopping around going, oh, where's that brush pile? No, I can tell you right where it is. It's right over there at 34 feet.
Yeah, well, you know, another question I have for you is, and obviously, electronics is different for the generations that are a little bit older when we're fishing, right? So you're seeing a lot of the young kids coming in, or younger fishermen. They've been playing video games where we were actually outside, you know, and growing up.
Yeah,
and so
we were jumping on lily pads and they were playing iPads.
Right, exactly. And so are you seeing a difference in maybe their level of expertise in using this
Most
electronics?
Definitely. You're seeing a younger generation, some of the new guys coming in, college guys, down to, you know, I consider like Josh Bertrand young, and you look at some of the elite guys, you're seeing those guys be really, really good with electronics. Like they have a relationship with that unit from the start, where the older you are, you have to go back to that learning curve. And that's why I was so eager to run multiple units. I didn't want to be behind the 8-ball.
Right.
I wanted to know what live scope looks like. Is exactly the way I want to know what the Lowrance active target looks like. I want to know, is there an advantage 1 foot off the bottom, or does it have a better view further out? Those are things that I want to know.
Have you found any of that? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm hearing my guys that I trust with active targets say that they can see their bait completely on the bottom, where live scope, the last foot, sometimes it kind of blends in.
Okay.
But they say the active target may not quite be as fast as when you move your bait, as the response time. So there's some guys talking about the last foot of visibility of your lure they can see with active target. So I don't know. I'm going to put them back on as the summer, but I'm trying to do that. I was a little bit overwhelmed when I first started. I had 1 week to learn them, and I got to the first tournament, and I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the new units, learning the menus. So that's why one of the reasons I say, hey, just take the Lowrances off, put my Humminbird back on. I didn't change. I got all my transducers there, so when I get back home, I can put them right back on and learn them. But it's a little bit overwhelming. So if you do make this change, give yourself more than 2 or 3 days to get to understand the system.
Right.
You know, you got to change settings, you got to hone some things in, so it'll be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the stuff on my phone. So anyway, but yeah, and I love the Phoenix. You switched over to Phoenix.
Yeah,
this
Phoenix,
is an awesome boat.
Yeah, I'm in the brand new. This is the big Cadillac of all right here. You know, I like them.
And now you're shooting. You shot with Mountain Dew today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the secret to my success is, well, I have a big unit.
Oh gosh.
I bought this one at Freedom Marine the other day, right down here in Guntersville.
Okay.
Mo told me, he said, hey, I got a Helix 15 in, and I was like, hey, I'm going to buy it because I'm familiar with the program. And you can see the outside of the boat hose where my Lowrances was. I just throw that on there. And that was simply because tournaments were coming up, and I'm familiar with that menu.
Right.
But, you know.
Now, where did you have your Lowrance sitting?
I had them like right here.
Oh, wow. Did that mess up your view when you were trying to?
It's a little bit, you know, and that's what I've learned. You got to be careful in the console building stuff up too high if you can't see over them. This, I'm tall enough to see right over it. But this 15, what I do like about it is my eyes ain't what they used to be.
Yeah.
This is a much bigger screen, and you can really see all the small details, which you need sometime in the sun straight up and down if you can't see the little dots because the screen's too small. This really helps with that.
Now, and speaking of that, now that you've got multiple brands up there, are you finding one brand better than the other when it comes to glare?
No, I haven't. I haven't really seen that there's a screen glare difference. All of them seem to be the same. And you can always adjust that out with the color palette and what you go with. but I have seen no glare issue with either three companies.
Well, it's awesome. Thank you so
got
much.
it.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me on. Yes,
thank
I got
you.
it here.
All right.